After property, plant and equipment, another non-current assets is intangible assets. Intangible assets are long-lived assets that facilitate the business operations but do not have any physical substance. Examples of intangible assets are patents, copyrights, franchisee agreements, brand and goodwill. Good brands ensure revenue. Similarly, patents ensure uniqueness of the product and provides a company with a competitive advantage over the other firms. Like tangible assets, these assets also have critically three attributes that we should look into. 1. Intangible assets are identifiable. 2. The entity has control over these assets. Typically, what it means is they have power to obtain benefits from the assets. 3. The future economic benefits will also flow to the entity, either through revenues or through reduction of future cost and so on. Like tangible assets, intangible assets are also recorded at their historical cost.
Professor, I see a goodwill in the report we are discussing. Why is good name in the business being included?
Good observation, Trigger. If you remember the earlier discussion, we said that cost of the asset should be measured reliably. Only then we can include them as assets in the balance sheet. So that means there is some reason why goodwill has come into the balance sheet. Self-generated brand name, self-generated goodwill or good name will not be in the books. The reason why goodwill comes into the books or into the balance sheet is because of business mergers. When one company acquires another company, the excess amount it pays over the fair value of the asset it takes over is represented by the term goodwill. Accountants don't know what other name to call it, and hence they have given a broad umbrella term called goodwill. Let me just explain in a simple term. Suppose a company buys another company for $1,000 million. The value of the asset that it acquires is around $800 million. It has paid some amount in excess, which is $200 million. Why do we pay that $200 million? That's another question. But this $200 million will be treated as goodwill in the books of accounts.
What if the amount is negative?
Oh, that will be a bad will.
Trigger, you're very funny. It's not bad will, maybe you can just call it as negative goodwill. IFRS states that the excess, if it is negative, must be recognized in the income statement immediately. However, some rules do not permit the same in the income statement and may have alternative treatments.
Professor, do intangible assets have infinite life or do we have to depreciate them?
As I said earlier, we will discuss depreciation in the next module. But a quick answer. The benefits from the intangible assets may not last forever, and hence we need to amortize it or test it for impairment. So these are the new terms that we need to address: amortization, impairment and so on, and we will do this when we talk about this in the income statement. After understanding fixed assets or property, plant and equipment and intangible assets, there are certain other items under non-current assets. Let us look at some of them in detail. Other elements under non-current assets includes receivables, advances or other deposits that are receivable beyond 12 months from the reporting date. Suppose a company has made some advance subscription for a period of 5 years. The amount that will be utilized beyond 1 year from the reporting date would be classified as other non-current assets. An important element under non-current asset is also an item called financial assets, represented as investments, also reported as available for sale securities. Let me elaborate this further. Sometimes companies have surplus funds. Now what will they do with that? Companies will find ways and means and avenues for investing these funds. Usually they are invested in financial assets or securities. The investment in securities can be for short term or for long term, depending on the company's need for cash. Investment in short term or long term can be broadly divided into three categories. One, they are treated as held to maturity, or they are held for trading, or they are available for sale. Now let me elaborate a little bit on all the three items in the investments. The first one being held to maturity. Usually held to maturity securities are bonds, debt securities which have specific maturity period. A held to maturity security is purchased with the intention of holding these investment up to maturity. And these can be, of course, like I said, current and non-current depending on when the assets are maturing. Held for trading securities. Held for trading securities are those short-term debt and equity securities held with the purpose or intention to sell them within a short period of time. These investments are made with a view to make quick money, and you don't want to keep the funds idle, and therefore invest in these securities and you sell it off when the price is right. These are disclosed under the head current assets. The third category of securities are also called as available for sale securities. So if a security is neither held to maturity nor are they held for trading, they are treated as available for sale securities.